Hey everybody, Matt here, Hollywood's Garage, coming with another Super Duty update. This update can be actually applied to any vehicle. It could be anything that's a 4-stroke. In my opinion, we're going to be installing a catch can. Catch can helps collect the moisture / oils from the crankcase that would go into the intake. Normally everything's plumbed through like your crankcase right into your intake, which causes oil to get into like your intake, or in this case your turbo, then your intake and all of your piping and intercooler. I've had it, the Smedding crankcase ventilation relocation kit already installed, which puts the vent down underneath the truck. It just vents atmosphere. But I want to install a catch can. I even said that in the video when I installed it, that later on I would. This saves you a lot of money. Moshimoto, I think it's called Moshimoto, makes a catch can kit and a new fuel, like oil cap, I guess reservoir or I guess connection. But it's expensive kit. Like up in Canada, they'd be like 600 bucks. It's ridiculous. I mean, I didn't save all the money I could have. I could have kept the stock factory oil filler cap that was on the truck, because it's a pedestal that sits about, I don't know, 8 inches taller than the valve cover where your oil goes in. But it's a pedestal that sits up, and then that's where in theory, Ford had it where that's where the oil would collect and drip back into the valve cover. Then all the I guess venting would go into the intake, but it didn't work 100% efficiently. It would still bring oil into the turbo system doing it that way. So I ended up buying the Smedding vent kit, which takes that factory Ford canister off, puts an aluminum billet piece in and like a -12 fitting, vent line down to underneath the truck, out of sight, out of mind. And everyone knows that these 6.4s have a factory amount of healthy blow-by, they're going to call it, so it idly get a little bit of smoke. It's as long as it's not puffing or lifting the oil cap off of the factory kit, you're good to go. Ford did that for the rings, so that way at high RPM, high boost, the rings would seal, have room to seal because they expand with heat, and it wouldn't cause your ring lands to break. So yeah, that's why we're going to install this kit. I can even show you where I've had it vented prior, and that there's all it is like not even a film. It'd be like just a moisture collecting at the end of the point where I had the hose. There's no sitting oil there or nothing, and I had it on there for like 300-400 kilometers. Nothing towing, nothing like that, just ripping around town here and there, a couple pulls. More idle time, not really more idle time, but you know, some idle time up to warm up the vehicle before we head out in colder temps. But here I'll show you where the hose was and how much kind of moisture, I guess, built up there, if you want to call it that. So I had it on underneath the passenger door, underneath here, and you can see where the hose was tied to. Just in front of there, I had a zip tied to that circle there, just ahead of that big bolt there that holds on the trailing arm. And yeah, there's no like pool of oil or nothing like that. It was just a moisture gathering unit. There's the hose there. I already cut the zip ties off. But what I'm gonna do, just above there, you'll see that grounding strap. That's just a bolt. I'm gonna install this catch can here. I got from Amazon, from the Jungle site. 750 mil. You got 2 options of either just putting a plug at the bottom, right there, or the drain. I'm gonna have some thread sealant to help out with that. I've already spun the bracket, so that way I can have this as the frame side here and have my lines coming off this way up into the engine. This is a cap. You can either have it sealed, or this one comes with a vent. I'm gonna seal it because I want to be able to have the crankcase pull on it, which is good for boosted engines, for high boosted engines. Comes with an assortment of fittings, and I got some hose. I'll be using the -12. I'll be using that -12 line on that gray line that you saw going to the can, and then I have 1/2 inch going back into the intake. I have some fittings to be able to hopefully work that I can change from the 1/2 inch to that 3/4 inch size to go back into the intake. Other than that, we got to make a bracket with sheet of aluminum here I have. We're gonna have to space out the can like 1/2 inch, like, you know, like 1/2 inch type thing from the frame, so we can clear the little bit of trailing, the back of that trailing arm a little bit, so we're not rubbing up against it. So we'll get going on that. I gotta bend up this piece here, kind of make a Z out of it, like a Z, I guess. So it comes out. Then I'll find some hardware to mount 2 little holes, which I wish they were bigger to be honest, but 2 holes to the catch can using smaller bolts, machine bolts or something, see what I have. Tech screws would work too into the aluminum. Hopefully it's strong enough for the 2 bolts. It's not a lot of weight, but you know, a lot of vibration over time could loosen it up. I already Loctited the 2 set screws on top. I was able to spin the bracket. So yeah, actually, well, I'll take this lid off of here and I'll show you how it works. So there you go. It's already labeled for you, out and in. You can see on the bottom there, oil goes in, and then it goes in through here, which will probably, yeah, it'll get dinged off of this little bracket they have here. I think it's a better light for you. There we go. It'll bounce off of that, oil will collect in the bottom of the can, and then the out will probably suck through that brass filter there and out to the out position. Hopefully catching 90%, you know, of the oil into the can, which then you'll drain pretty much every oil change or so, give or take. It's good to check it more often just to begin with, so you know what you're working with. Comes with a good O-ring, so when you twist the cap off or the canister, sealed, airtight. There's O-ring on that too, but honestly, I don't think it's doing much. I'll probably put some thread sealant on that. So this is what I'll be tying into. You can see the smeding shiny piece there with the hose off the back. So I'll be bringing that hose back up into this. So don't mind this, that's just a fitting I found when I did it seal off this, so we're not sucking unfiltered air. The trick will be to connect to this using some of the, cut off a piece of that gray line, have a fitting going smaller to 1/2 inch. Won't look the best, but it's gonna work, and it's gonna be a hell of a lot cheaper than buying that Moshimoto catch can. And you know, you guys can save a lot of money just using that factory, this piece right here off of there. Yeah, so we'd go like that. And then just use that, and then have your catch can routed as such, instead of buying that shiny aluminum piece, unless you need it or you want some bling bling. Okay, let's get going on that bracket. As you guys can see, I made up my bracket. So it'll mount to the frame piece like this. It'll bring it out more than 1/2 inch, just kind of how I bent it. Then I'll have the 2 screws. It comes with 2 of these longer tech screws, the little washers. So we'll do that. I'll let my drill charge up so I can drill the hole for where that ground bolt would go. The bolt just goes into the frame. There's nothing behind the frame besides the nut the bolt goes into. So we'll end up putting the ground, I'll buffer this off a little bit maybe, or the ground will still be grounded by the bolt head, so which will go to that nut. That's there. So I'm letting my drill charge up, and I'll get the Christmas tree bit or whatever drill I can find and make that hole and tech screw these 2 in. I've already went ahead and put in some pipes, I guess pipe thread sealant there on that one, and then I'm going to use these little cheap fittings that came with it. Put some pipe thread on there and screw these in so they can dry up and seal up tight, which we'll go ahead and do now. It comes with this little roll of pipe tape, but I don't know, I like this stuff better. And I bet you the stuff that comes with it is pretty chintzy thin stuff, so if you do use a pipe tape, get some good brand name stuff. I do have some, I just rather use this. Get myself a crescent, I don't know, a couple elbow clicks later, and she's tight. Wipe off the excess. Which probably made a bigger mess than I should have just left it. Oh well, it is what it is. Also have to find some pipe clamps too. You can tighten up the hoses to seal them up good. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the drain, if that's a good idea, or just go with the plug. The Moshimoto just comes with a plug, so honestly, I'll probably just do the plug. Then we know that this won't fail or get full of dirt, which won't open anyway later on, so I'll have to take it out regardless. And I mean, it's not a pipe thread, like it just goes until it bottoms out. There's no like pipe thread to it, so you'd have to still put sealant on it, so you might as well throw the plug in. But it is nice that they offer both, you know, If the guy wants to do the other way, you can. If I wasn't under the vehicle with it, I'd probably go with the drain. It was, you know, that way rocks and stuff couldn't get in there, or dirt. In that case, I'll have to find my, let's see if I have one big enough. I might be putting the other one in. Oh yes, you got some big. It's probably a 5/16. Yeah, just throw that around some more. Stick around to the end too. I got some extra fun stuff to put on the truck. Okay, there we go. Nice and sealed. Wrist tight. I mean, it is aluminum, so a guy doesn't want to go too tight. You'll end up wrecking it. Not worth it. I did find, so it comes with these chintzy little washers. I don't know if you can see it there. They're pretty chintzy. I have some rivet ones, you know, a little bigger, so that'll help. Came with some tech screws. I think I might have shorter ones. These might be too long for the bracket. It should work. So, let's see if my drill is charged. We'll go set it up on the vise here. What's the best way? If I try this, it might bend the bracket, but we can see. We'll go with that size for now. Clean it out. There. Go get the best thing to do is we'll take that bolt out. I'm sure that's even a little more bigger than what I needed. We'll take that bolt out now. We'll see if that hole it works. If not, I have washers. I think it's okay. We'll end up mounting, we'll actually mount the can first, because once I'm down there's not much room for a drill. So we'll mount the can to the bottom side here first. I'm not gonna lie, that bracket's pretty chintzy, but it won't be side mounted, so being mounted like this, it should be okay. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on it over time. This is just aluminum at the end of the day. It's not steel or nothing, so if I was smart, I would have bent it the other way so there wasn't a bunch of yellow shown, but we'll just powder coat that on a later date. Okay, let's go get that bolt off from underneath that truck. Welcome to the under of the truck. It is a 13 mil. You guys have catch cans set up? You guys should bleep bloop it down there. What way do you have it? Do you have it going back into the intake, or you have it just vented? My LS on my Ventura is to the intake, so it's just the same setup as this. Catches whatever fluids and moisture there is, keeps it in the can, and when I go to boost it, I'll see what I do. A lot of guys will do free vent theirs because of their setup, so there's like not enough room to put a what do you call it, like a suction point to the intake on it. So that's what a lot of guys do, but I'm gonna try to do it where I can go into the intake. I should have room. So if the hole is big enough, I'll have to go get a extension so I can reach it now. If you grab an extension, grab the longest one you have, because you know, why wouldn't you? Just make sure your cable doesn't get all twisted up. Grounds are very important, so don't think you can just get rid of it either. There's a reason why Ford put it there. There we go. She's 2 elbow clicks tight. Still nice and loose. We'll have to play for vibration. I don't know how long that's going to be good for. A lot of vibration in that. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see if the back of this ends up getting dinged by the bracket here. The guy could get like some rubber or something to like tighten between here, zip tie to it or something so it doesn't bounce around too much. But we'll see. Once we get the hoses on, it might help too. Which I'm going to try to mount them up in here. I wonder if there's enough space. Oh yeah, there we go. This one's going to be a cut to length one. There we go. We'll cut it. We'll go into the in one, which is the inside one here on the back side. And then we'll clamp that on, because these are only 1/2 inch fittings, and that's probably a 3/4 inch hose. And we'll use a little bit of length up top for my adapter. We'll see if there's enough. There should be enough room to run a 1/2 inch hose up here too. Keeps it tucked out of the way and out of the wheel well, which is nice. Okay, I'll get my X-Acto knife. All I have are these pretty big clamps here, but should go small enough to what we are doing here. Ooh, this stuff cuts. That cuts good. I know you guys are on the wrong side of viewing it all because the can's in the way and my armpit and whatnot, and I'll show you after here how it all looks. What I should do is get a socket, because this is annoying. Should have went a bit longer on the hose, but it'll do. Probably have to try to get an adapter to go to a smaller size on this, like some of that 1/2 inch I have. Or you could try to get a bigger fitting for this, or I don't know. Honestly, not the best setup here. Squeezing down that much. It's gotten tight though. Such big hose clamps. Oversight on my part. Should have got smaller ones. I'm like, it'll be fine. That one's done. I'll show you guys the debacle I have here. So there's my debacle. You can see she's on there. Big clamp. But there's the 1/2 inch I have, which I have some smaller clamps. We'll get that routed up to the intake. Got it wrapped up. Now, you're gonna think, Matt, are you a genius? Or are you just trying to make something work that doesn't really, half of it might work? I mean, 50% is still a pass in my opinion. So, show you what I got going on here. I used the factory, what do I use magnet here? So, I used the factory elbow right off of there. I have a fitting here that goes from not this size, obviously smaller, to my 1/2 inch, a 3/4 to 1/2 inch brass fitting, nipple ends. Got that squeezed so that way every time I go to, put oil in it, when I do oil changes, I cut myself instead of putting that the right way and actually spinning it down. So yay, that'll be fun. Anywho's, I have them both run down the frame behind the wheel well. You can see the 1/2 inch line here. The gray one's just tucked up behind like that. The guy can zip tie them together. And then down here where all the magic happens. Here we go. That's how they go between the body bushing there, which actually are in good shape still. Trucks are notorious for bad body bushings. But yeah, you can see that both fittings up there come together. They don't squeeze each other off. There's still room behind that bushing. And that's where they go. A little, with the hoses on, it's not so vibraty. That 3/4 inch, that gray one there, that helps vibration quite a bit. Actually, so does that 1/2 inch, being a thicker material. So we'll give that a try, and we'll see how she does. I'd say that's a success, minus a few little funny, quirky, hopefully that holds, hose clamp. So now, I promised you, if you stuck around to the end, there'd be some fun stuff to do. And by fun, I mean we got ourselves some injector cleaner. We're gonna give this a whirl. I think I have half a tank, so we'll probably just dump the whole thing in there because I don't know. It says it does up to 150 liters. Tanks only hold 90 liters, so I have 45 in there. So we'll double that up, cleaner. Then after that, when that tank goes out, we'll run some house in there every time we fill it up. Then we got some new window wiper blades. These ones I got in particular because they were the cheapest, $10 per wiper. We all know how fun those are to replace. A little flashy light on the little crappy tire Canadian Newfie Speed and Sport store said these will fit. So let's hope that works out. Injector cleaner. Since I am having a cylinder 2 contribution code here and there, and I'm not looking forward to pulling that valve cover, but we'll see if this does the trick, cleans it up. So we'll just pour it in there. Just drink up, little buddy. Take it all. That's that good stuff. Oh yeah. Took it all. Thirsty little guy. Thirsty little devil. There we go. That one's on. Nice, and you can see it's nice and level with the black strip. The other one's up in the air because it needs to be brought up. You see when it comes down, it's gonna hit that plastic all the time, super annoying. So behind there, you see a little tab. You want to pretty much clip it with your thumb, pull it up, slides right off the top stud. You're gonna want to pivot it up, drop it back down. It's like little splines almost. So we'll see where we get it. Got her all nice set up, lined up, matches the other one. This tab right here, you want to put your thumb in there and or a screwdriver and ply that out, and it just pops right on. Twist it to where you want it, click it back on, and she looks good. Okay, so that's a wrap for this video. I guess I'll show you how the LS catch can is set up on my car as well. Said I might be changing it once I turbo it, but she's just a little guy. So that I think this is I'll put a link on the one that I bought for the truck, but I think this is another option they had, smaller one. This is actually got a little dipstick on it too, which is handy. But yeah, in and out. Comes off the valve cover, goes into the can, intake. And actually, you'd be amazed how much moisture and like white oily residues gets in that catch can after a while. Especially when I'm up in the Ripums, up in the catch up there at 6,500, 7,000 RPM for a while. Other than that, guys, there's a wrap on that video. Hopefully you enjoyed my hackery of a job there with the hoses. I'll eventually get proper fittings for it. And we'll get that all figured out and straightened out. And see if it even sticks on long enough there with that chintzy little bracket I made there. Okay, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.